Hotty toddy, Rebel fans, and happy Easter. Welcome to episode 32 of the Rebel Nation Conversation. I am Rebel Fan 69. My co-host is the Metal Reb. Together we make up the Rebel Nation Conversation, your one-stop shop for uninformed and non-expert Ole Miss sports conversation.
Unsullied by sponsorships, it's 2025.
Yes, sir. If you're watching us on YouTube channel, you're in the right spot. But to those catching us over on them TikToks, be sure to come to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ at the RN Convo. Just watch the whole episode with us and comment there. Let us know what you think we can do. Like I said, Mel, it's Easter Sunday, so I hope you've had a good day so far.
We have, man. Went to church with mother and dad this morning, and then went over there for Sunday dinner. So good times. That's always good. Back in these woods of Marion County, undisclosed location.
Yep.
But I'm here. How about you?
Yeah, we're down on the coast all weekend. Done a little with the family yesterday, and then this day kind of drove home in the kind of wet weather, but seems to kind of lifted a little bit out there now. So anyway, other than that, good day.
Got
always
spring
a good
football.
Yep, always a good day to celebrate the resurrection of our Lord.
Amen to that.
Greatest story ever told there, actually. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
On the Ole Miss front, Rebels started camp last week, and the media got their first glance at them. It was only like a 15 to 20-minute session that they were allowed to be there on Tuesday. But at least we started getting a few, official reports.
But it ain't been very much.
No, it just hadn't. But I guess about the biggest thing has been that first-year head coach Pete Golding got to hold a press conference, and while there wasn't a lot, he really said that wouldn't go down in the books as just total coach speak. There was a few things I thought interesting. The biggest of which was his first-time comments referencing the Dabo Swinney tampering allegations regarding linebacker Luke Farrelly, who transferred to Ole Miss after transferring to Clemson from University of California. You got to admit, the first thing he said, is I have to take that as a sort of, and I have to take that sort of as a shot to right at Dabo, is when he said he would not stand up there and use the podium as a grandstand. You figure that had to be aimed at him, right?
Maybe a little. I mean, maybe a little. Pete, we talked about it for weeks and weeks. He made some mistakes with all of this with Luke. I'm sure he knows that. I think Pete's, and he alluded to this too, but his, ultimate position on this was the kid wanted to play football at Ole Miss. He wanted to be here.
Yep.
And yeah, the path to get here was bumpy and crooked and all that, but who knows, man? I mean, to hear Pete tell it, it was pretty straightforward. That once all the hurdles were cleared, that he had never made any bones about it. He wanted to be here. Now, Dabo certainly doesn't tell it quite like that, but
not a bit.
Yeah. But again, I think there are some things I think going back, if we could get a redo here, that Pete would do differently.
Absolutely. Well, the only reason why I say I think he used that was sort of a jab at Dabo himself was because Dabo did use the podium as a grandstand, so he just said, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm not gonna use it as my opportunity to get back at you. Although it kind of did that. You know.
Yeah.
Basically, what he said, and this alludes to basically what you said he alluded to there, is that Luke was in on, and I never knew he did this. I never knew he came to campus for an official visit right before the Fiesta Bowl, but he was out on campus for an official visit, and and Pete actually told him he wanted him to be the green dot, the defensive green dot, but as of yet, that job was not open on our roster, because this is referring to, of course, that Daugherty was still on our roster.
And there you go. That's the snag. That's what kind of got this whole thing. And you know, because somebody asked me the other day, well, what's the holdup? Why didn't he? You know, why did he ever fool around with Clemson? And you just said it. You just said why.
Yep.
We already had that slot covered.
Right.
And then when TJ left to go to where he went, then obviously it came open. And I'll tell you something else. To me, that also explains a lot about why we didn't even fight TJ Daugherty leaving.
Yeah.
Or attempt to break the bank to get him to stay or whatever. We knew we had that spot covered.
Well, I had it kind of lit further down in my notes, but that's going to bring me. I'll just move it on up here. For him to even be talking to him and saying these type of things, do you think he kind of already knew that Daugherty was going to follow him? Was going to go?
I think he had a good idea.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking too. Otherwise, I mean, and the reason, but then there's another reason too. There's no doubt that Daugherty did not have a very good Fiesta Bowl. We can put a lot.
He didn't have a great season.
No, and he was the green dot.
Have a great season. How many times did we talk about
linebacker play?
Constantly out of position. The first game against Georgia last year, that's some of the worst linebacker play I've seen at Ole Miss in a long time. Yep. And you know, they were much better the second time we played them in the Sugar Bowl. But yeah, is it sour grapes because he's gone to LSU? Dude, label it however you want. But there's documented proof. There's all over the message board that we were not really happy with TJ Daugherty's performance last year.
If he'd have been a better at what we had him on the field to be, I think we could have used. This may sound weird, but I think we could use Suntarine Perkins in a lot better of a position than what we had to use him for all last year. But because we had to have a spy so often, and Suntarine was the only one that could really do that. But again, if we had better linebacker play, we wouldn't have had to use him like that. I don't think so.
Speaking of, wonder what his position looks like moving forward.
I don't know. I watched he didn't say a lot on him. He took to the stand the other day and talked, but I really didn't watch a lot of him. He's kind of a man of few words. He really just didn't say a lot. But I tell you what, he looks like he's. In fact, I think there was even a post on by Chase and them saying he put on a little weight. I think 4 or 5 pounds. I mean, it ain't a lot, but he just looks bigger than what I remember him looking. I'll say that. Looks like to be very fit, really fit.
Pete Goldie?
No, Suntarine Perkins.
Oh,
I thought that's who we was discussing. At that, I thought that's who you was asking about.
Then you said something about the press conference, and I thought you was talking about Pete's press conference. But
no, Suntarine. Yes, Suntarine went on the stage for.
Yeah.
And did take a few questions the other day.
Yeah, he don't give up a lot of info.
No, he don't. But I'm hoping his role is not as solely as a spy this next year, if you're asking me. I hope we can use him as that. I'd like to see him more in the pass rush because he's one of them that can consistently get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's fast and can tackle really well.
He's going to be a linebacker in the NFL, man.
Ain't no doubt.
I've never understood his use since day one. If you've ever seen a natural linebacker, there he is. Perfect size, exceptional speed. They say he's the fastest player on our team. But we've used him all kind of weird ways, especially last year. But whatever. I don't want to go backwards. I just hope he excels in 26, and I hope we put him in a spot where he can excel. I want him to just be a ball hawk, man. I think he's got the ability to be one of those great SEC linebackers that just dominates a game. Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Exactly, a Patrick Willis. We also see Pete Golding went on, and he touched on the QB2 battle. Obviously, Trinidad would be the number one guy, but with Deuce, Maddox, and Walker Howard, he was kind of alluding to the fact he just felt this would be a with the experience that's in that room, that it'd be a very good QB room. We're in a good spot QB wise. Let's put that.
Yeah, and I've heard some good things about Maddox. Maybe the light bulb's coming on with him a little bit. Not saying he'll ever be an SEC starting quarterback, but from all accounts, he is getting better. So that was good to hear. But of course, if something happens, that Deuce Knight's the number 2 guy without question. I don't think anybody.
I think it's got to be. But what do Walker Howard? I mean, we've brought this question up many shows ago. But wonder what you think was told to Walker Howard. What do you reckon he come back for?
Dude, I don't know why that kid won't go somewhere where he can play.
I mean, he was he was a 4-star, right? I mean, he was highly recruited.
5-star. He was a 5-star Rivals.
Went to LSU, then back to us.
I don't know why.
I think maybe he just loves Ole Miss. Hotty toddy, I do too.
Yeah. Me too. I can relate.
Let's see. He went on. He just talked about the running back room. I kind of like. There was some kind of interesting the way he put it, and I've always thought this is he brought in some depth at running back, and the reason behind that is because it's from a durability standpoint for Lacey. He said he just cannot expect for Lacey to last if we're trying to give him the ball 35, 40 times a game. Because he's not that big. He's a great running back, and he run really good, but he ain't no huge guy. He's not a Derrick Henry, a Mark Ingram size type ball player. So you just can't give him 35, 40 carries a game and expect him to make 12-plus games.
Yeah, well, our old coach, he didn't play a lot of people, man, at the skill positions. He liked playing the same running back, and he liked playing the same 3 or 4 receivers, and that's it. So, consequently, Lacey took beat.
Oh, yeah. Well, but there was one thing that Pete said that made a lot of sense. Like a light bulb went off in my head. He said, I don't want that when he comes out of the game for the opposing team to know we're fixing to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? So when Lacey hits the sideline, somebody else comes in. We want a ball carrier that's just as good as him. All right, we still got to play the run here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty good little point that he made there too.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot more that he said, and I won't touch on it all. Overall, I think that Pete did a really good job on his first, what I would consider his first real press conference. And I'm not going to count the ones, he's kind of got thrown in there last year after the playoff games and stuff. But I thought he did a pretty good job. He handled the questions well. He didn't dodge the question about tampering. You know, that's been
Yeah.
like an easy thing to do. One thing I thought was pretty funny was when he said, "It's just he said, as a coordinator, he said I could go anywhere in this town I wanted to, you know, and do anything I wanted." He said, "Now I'm head coach." He said, "Every time I go somewhere, somebody wants to ask me a question, wants to take a picture with me, wants me to sign something." He said, "I can't only, you know." Thought that was pretty cool. But hey,
Yeah.
that's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's right.
All right. So second up for press conference was Trinidad. Thought he did a pretty good job too. Did you get to listen to all his stuff?
I did, and yeah, he answered everything in a politically correct manner. There was one thing he did that I made a note that I wanted to talk about, and I cannot remember what the comment was. Do you
Well, I
remember?
got a few of them here. So maybe maybe I can jog your memory.
All right.
He obviously said he was relieved about the NCAA cloud being kind of over. That was good. And then he was very complimentary of his receivers right now. He mentioned the transfers. But also very much Caleb Cunningham, whom I don't know, between you and me, I'm highly excited about really getting to see what he can do. He didn't get a lot of chances last year as a freshman. There was just who was he going to take off the field to put him on it last year. But obviously with Stribling gone, Wallace and all that, now he's going to get an opportunity. I think he could be the premier wide receiver myself.
Well, apparently, two names have been jumping out at everybody in spring practice in terms of great improvements, and that's Anthony Maddox, whom I mentioned earlier, and Caleb Cunningham. He's really making strides, and like you said, man, on most college teams last year, he would have probably gotten a lot more reps, but we were just absolutely stacked at the position, and Kiffin didn't play a lot of guys at receiver. Again, he gets his 3 or 4, and he really doesn't mess with that very much. So, or didn't here. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what he does. I mean, he came in with all kinds of, fanfare, and he's got the size. So, yeah, really, really excited to see what he can do.
Yep, me too. Obviously very complimentary, which I wouldn't have thought it'd be anything other than that of John David Baker as well as Joe Judge, which he's worked with Judge all last year, so that's nothing new for him. But with JDB, it's going to be kind of a new thing going on. But the most poignant question to me that was asked of Trinidad was, how was this team's identity different under Golding than the previous coach? He said that the personalities are a little bit different.
That's it. That's what I was going to talk about. He said Pete's a player's coach.
Right. He said that Golding is more like a team guy.
Yeah.
Pete can show you faster than he can tell you type of coach. And he leads by actions. And that the entire team really appreciates that.
Yeah.
And he did mention Kiffin by name earlier when he was talking about John David Baker, but that was in this one he said previous coach. He just really didn't mention his name. So, obviously that was, to me, that was the politically correct, only politically correct way to say it. He don't want to be so down on his previous coach, obviously, but who give him a shot.
Dude, I would guess that Kiffin and his team at LSU put an enormous amount of pressure on Trinidad and Keywan Lacey.
Oh, I know. Had to have.
They had to.
Well, we know he put the full court press on Lacey. We got a recording of him doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
And they thought they had him, both of them.
Yep.
So,
But
I don't know what that dynamic looks like between Trinidad and Kiffin, but dude, it just can't be all peaches and cream at this point.
not now. Not now, but I would think it would be more Kiffin being upset than Trinidad, you know.
Well, of course, because Kiffin's some idiotic blankety blank 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 blank.
He's a petulant child. He didn't get his way, so what do you think he's going to do? He's going to be upset about it.
What's still amazing to me about all that is people. It's incredible how uninformed the masses are. And you know, now with social media, everybody's got an opinion, of course, and they don't have no problem putting it out there. And it's all Ole Miss fans are upset because Lane Kiffin took a better job. That's the narrative.
Don't give two shits about the fact that he held us hostage for 5 weeks and wouldn't give us an answer.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, that's why I'm upset. I mean, damn, at the end of the day, if he wants to go to LSU, so be it. Get the hell out of Oxford. I don't want you here no more. But the deal is, don't let us lead us on like he did. So
yeah, it's the timing of it. I mean, this dude goes to our biggest rival, and then can't understand why we're salty about it. Man, F that dude. We've wasted enough energy on him. What's next?
Yeah, what's next? In other Ole Miss news, Chris Beard and the men's basketball program came to terms with Elias Camberdine. So he will be returning to Ole Miss for next season. My only thought on this, and it's opinion. It's an opinion that I kind of formed around your input, Metal, is that I just hope we didn't overpay for him. You know?
I just can't imagine that we would. Now, what I'm going to say happened, and I say this with no sources, no inside info, no nothing. But, you know, when this first come up, once it was, you know, common knowledge that he had another year of eligibility to play, Neil and some others mentioned that he was asking for a big number to return. If I had to guess, I'm going to say what happened is Ole Miss countered with a more reasonable number. He probably said, no way, and started looking around and realized that number ain't so bad. Because I'm telling you right now, there ain't many teams out there with scrambling and fighting for Elias Camberdine.
No.
That's the awful truth. That's the cold, hard truth.
I can't see nobody scrambling for him, that's for sure. Now, here's the question I got. Someone said Beard wants to use him in a more off-the-ball role next year. So those of us with a very low basketball IQ, such as myself, what the hell does off-the-ball mean? Just, I don't know. I just can't figure out what he means.
I mean, it's easy. It just means that he doesn't want him to play point. He doesn't want him to create for the offense, bring the ball up, and handle the ball out top the whole game. Elias Camberdine is a natural 2 guard, which is a shooting guard. And so he was really probably playing out of position all year because we didn't. That's what Chris Beard asked him to do, is play point. But by playing off the ball, that's going to allow him, because I think the kid's got a pretty good shot. He's a pretty good catch and shoot player. But this year, everything he did, every opportunity he had was off the dribble. are off the bounce, as we talked about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a totally different world. That's very difficult to do against high level defenses. He's not an amazing athlete, and most guys that make it that aren't great athletes are catch and shoot players, especially guards. And so I'm hoping that that's what we do. I'm hoping we bring in a true point guard and allow him to play two guard or be a combo guard. And that may work. That may be effective. But he was so overwhelmed as a point guard in the SEC that he just looked bad for most of the year, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure he learned a lot, and hopefully he'll be much better next year. But we got to get a true point guard.
Well, what I'm hoping is that Beard knows better where to play the guy next year, obviously.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he was playing him out of position and asking him to do something he probably just didn't know how to really do, you know.
Yeah. And he's going to have to adjust back to playing without the ball in his hands all the time. And the biggest thing he's going to have to learn to do is moving without the ball, which is really tough for guys who are ball dominant and so used to having the ball the whole time. But if he can do that, and we can set him up for good shots, run some good screens, get him some good looks, I think he can be maybe an effective player for us. But dude, if he's one of your top couple of guys, you ain't winning in this league.
No.
I'm sorry.
Not unless he heavily approves.
Fairly here, unless he heavily approves. I mean, we try to break it down fairly here. It ain't all, unicorns and rainbows or whatever the saying is. We got to call it like we see it, and he got work.
Well, I hope but I mean, he could improve if he's, like you say, if he's an off the ball shooting guard. Maybe and we put him back in a natural feeling position to him.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Maybe he becomes an all SEC player. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Next topic up for discussion that we'd like to talk about. Let's move into our adopted team, the Birmingham Stallions. We don't have a game that's played since our last one, but we got one coming up this evening in about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Stallions travel to Houston to take on the Houston Gamblers this afternoon, Easter Sunday, at 5 p.m. Central. That game is going to be aired on the NFL Network. Kind of as I said last week, Gamblers do not have any former Rebels on their roster, so hell, I hate them. I hate the Gamblers, man. Can't help it.
Go to hell, Gamblers.
That's right, man. Gamblers lost their opening week game to the Dallas Renegades by a score of 36-17. This is one thing I did, and you may, because outside the SEC, outside the daggum Ole Miss Rebels, I don't pay a lot of attention to a lot of these people, not until they get pro. But their second team quarterback, a guy named Hunter Deckers. Do you know him? Have you heard of him?
I do not.
Well, I was just wondering where he played. I didn't have a chance to look it up a while ago. But anyway, he took over in the second half of last week's game and did fairly well. He provided a spark of optimism for him. He went 19 for 29 for 227 yards, no TDs, but no interceptions either. And that's only in one half of football.
Who's their starting quarterback?
Oh, shit. I knew you'd ask me. I seen it a while ago, though.
And is he slated to start today, I wonder?
Now, that's what we were saying. The preview that I watched on the Houston Gamblers is they is that if they were kind of like if the Deckers got the start today, that they thought that they would be a lot more competitive than they were against Let's see.
Dallas.
Dallas. Let's see. Nolan Henderson. Did you know
I
him?
never heard of him either.
Let's see. Hunter Deckers was out of Iowa Western. That's why we never heard of him. Iowa Western. Didn't even know there was such a school.
No, there was a kid from up that way a few years ago, a wide receiver named Eric Decker.
This is Deckers, Dekkers.
No, that ain't even the same spelling as the guy I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So I don't know nothing about him or Iowa Western.
Iowa Western, that's it. But he did come in.
I got nothing.
That's a pretty good number, so for one half of football last week. So
Yeah, but he ain't seen that Stallions D.
yep, and that's one of the things that their people was previewing when they said it. We held Louisville to just 46 yards of rushing last week.
And 13 points.
That's a pretty stifling deal. So
At any level of football, if you give up 13 points, you're supposed to win that game.
Yep. The only bad thing is we only scored 15 our own, but we left.
I know.
2 field goals was missed.
An extra point.
And an extra point. So
That's
there was
22.
There was a lot better driving. We did a lot more offensive work. We just didn't come away with points on the deal.
Yeah. Well, I felt like the second half of that game, man, they really dialed in on our running game. It just looked to me like our offensive line got blew up in the second half of that game. I was shocked when you read out the stats that we had actually broke 100 yards rushing because it did not seem like it. I guess there was some.
Well, Keywan,
Snoop Connor.
Snoop Connor. I don't know why I said Keywan. I guess because of Rebel. But he had 56 of his own, and a touchdown. So, I hope he can have a good season, man. He was one of them.
Me too.
Just a good, hard running back. All right, well, that pretty much does it in for them. Until we have a game, we can't get anything to talk about other than because we don't know nothing about the Gamblers either. So about all I could find is what I just told you.
Yeah. Kick off at 5 today. We're recording on Sunday, so by the time the show comes out tomorrow, the game will be over. But nothing we can do about that.
Me and you don't never do predictions, but I feel pretty good about it. It's just too early in our fandom to be going 2 touchdowns going 2 touchdowns or something like that.
Is there any kind of line on the game? I wonder.
Shit, they probably is. I just hadn't logged in.
Is.
I don't bet pretty much no more. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to baseball.
A very surprising and very needed
week
series win.
Well,
yeah,
we started out. We started out with Rebels snapped a 4-game losing streak, and with a midweek game against the University of Arkansas Little Rock, and then took off, traveled down to Florida to begin a Thursday through Saturday 3-game series with the Gators. Rebs win game 1, 6-4. Taylor Rabe got the start, and he looked okay. He did give up 3 runs on 7 hits, and but he only worked 4 and 2/3 innings. So Calhoun got the win, and Hooks got the save. This was a game that's a little different here. We won this game by actually doing what we hadn't been doing all year. We got runners on, we got them home. We manufactured the runs. We manufactured them all. We didn't rely solely on that home run ball.
Yeah. Shoot, we showed a little offense in game 3, which we'll get to.
But it was late. So let's go on to that real quick. Let's see. So the other note that I had for game 1 in that was that we did not score a run after the 6th inning. 6th inning was our last run to score on Friday night. And the reason that is a important thing to note is because we didn't score a run at all. in the Saturday game. So there's your 11 innings. 12 innings right there straight. And then we did not score again until the 9th inning of Game 3.
I thought we lost 2-1 in Game 2.
No, 2-0.
2-0. Okay.
I know. So
Wow.
we went 20, but that, you know what? Believe it or not, that 2-0 game was. I feel bad for Elliott because he gave up the 2 runs, but he only gave up 4 hits. He worked 4 innings, struck out 9. Bianco used Landon Keening and Will Libbert. Will Libbert moving into a long relief role type deal to close the game out. But the good story of that game was obviously we couldn't hit. And that was the one that was just right back to what the same old thing is. We'd get runners on, we'd get them to second, which is scoring position, and then strike out, strike out, strike out. I think we struck out like 10 times Saturday. Funny thing is, though, is they only scored 2 runs in that damn game and struck out 16 times. So we did not play bad from a defensive side Saturday.
Yeah.
We just couldn't score runs. We couldn't score runs because we're not putting a stick on the ball.
Yeah.
Especially not when you get runners on base. If they're willing to give you walks, you take them, but then you've got to also be able to get them on in, you know. So
Yeah.
But then that brings us on into Game 5. After being held scoreless until the 9th, the Rebels exploded for 5 runs in the top half of the inning, and then we were able to not allow the Gators to score in their half of the frame to earn the win, 5-2. Becerra would begin the 9th with a walk, and then Judd Udemark would send a 1-2 fastball out of the park. That little exchange right there tied us up at 2. I thought there was some good game notes that I read. I don't know if you read any of that by Chase. Udemark kind of said that Foley had helped him before that at bat, kind of how to approach that guy as a hitter because he had noticed some things or something the inning before or something.
Who picked up the win for Ole Miss?
On Sunday, Saturday.
Saturday.
Well, that's the bad thing is Cade Townsend started the game, but didn't earn the win after working 6. But he had already. The win went to Hooks. Walker Hooks.
So health-wise, Cade Townsend
Looks great.
Looks great.
Looks great. All right, so that's what I say. He pitched really well in this game. He worked 6 innings, gave up only 1 run with 4 hits, struck out 6, had 0 walks. In a no decision, he lowers his ERA to 1.82 for the season. The boy is a natural born pitcher.
Yeah.
But you know what? So Bianco, that kind of brings me around to Bianco did something kind of weird with the rotation this week. It was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, obviously. So with Cade coming off of an injury, they really didn't want to move him off of a Saturday. They didn't want to pitch him one day early. You know, even though he did have the series last week against State, but it's still, he's only 2 weeks removed from being off an injury. They didn't want to bring him in a day early, so they wanted to leave him on Saturday.
Yeah.
They left him on Saturday where he would normally pitch, but it turned out it was Game 3 instead of Game 2. And they left Elliott on Friday, and they just moved Rabe to Thursday to be the Game 1 starter. So Elliott and Cade really pitched their right days, just different games. They pitched 2 and 3 instead of games 1 and 2. But I guess me and Dump was talking, text messaging last Thursday about it with the start. We're going to see this week with this upcoming weekend series against LSU. We'll see. Does he leave it, Rabe, Elliott? Will he move him? You know what that's what we're kind of. This is when we'll find out if it was just to try to keep them on their right days, or is it going to be
something else? Yeah.
Or is Rabe going to be Game 1 starter, Elliott Game 2, and I like it either way, to be honest with you. I like the idea of let's pitch Rabe on Friday night. Of course, you know how it is, especially when you're dealing with Bianco. If he does it and man, it works, he's going to be, why didn't he do that shit to begin with? And if it doesn't work, they're going to be calling him stupid why he didn't go with Elliott. So, I mean, the man can't win with the Ole Miss crowd right now for the majority of the night, Ole Miss crowd, or at least the ones we interact with. So, but I really think that he's going to move him to Sunday.
I mean, if we're being fair, man, don't you understand their frustration? I know you always err on the side of Bianca, and that's fine. But do you at least understand?
I understand where they're coming from, but I still feel like they're being completely short-sighted about it. I just do. Because the coach can only do so much. I mean, he can't go out there and hit. He can't go out there and field it. Can't throw it. He can only put the players out there. Then they've been coached to do it right. They just don't.
Well, I understand that, but you could say that about any coach of a losing team.
Yeah,
What's the difference? I'm just asking.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's just what I'm saying. I mean, he puts them in good position though. He wins games. He's won a lot of games. He's most winningest coach in Ole Miss history right now. And it's not always been against. He pads his record with shitty teams and then loses the big ones. That ain't the way that's gone. He's won a lot of big games against really big people, but he don't get credit for that. He gets credit for the losses, though. So again, but at the end of the year, he don't get credit for that either. Everybody out, you read them boards today, everybody's saying that the team just got hot in spite of Bianco. He ain't getting credit for that. So, sorry. Yeah, I like Bianco, and I want to keep him around. But I mean, obviously, if they move on from him this year, I'll understand the reasoning, and I won't complain. In fact, I'll still be an Ole Miss fan the next day. So, moving on though. Next up for the Rebels. We'll return next week to the friendly confines of Swayze. We host Alcorn on Tuesday night. And then hosting the 3-game set against LSU next weekend. That'll be a Friday through Sunday regular type weekend. That's another winnable series. LSU is not playing like they did last year. They've had some struggles so far this year. And so that's another winnable series, just like I knew the Florida series. That's the first text message I sent Dump Thursday. I said, this is a winnable series here. It's on the road. It's going to be tough to do, but it's winnable. The LSU coming in home next week, that's a definitely winnable series for us. So, got to get them. Don't get swept. Win 2 out of 3 be best case.
Yeah.
Well, best case, obviously, sweet, but I want at least the 2. All right, our last little segment today is from the boards. But the biggest thing was we saw Friday night after the game after game 1. Saturday night. No. I'm getting it. The game was held on Thursday night, but obviously this was, these Thursday through Saturdays throw me off so bad, man.
Son, that has got you all fouled up.
It messes me up so bad. But anyway, he got in somewhat of a Twitter spat with a guy named Ole Miss Sports 67. He tweeted at Keith, saying that Bianco always leaves pitchers in too long. Everyone can see he's gassed. Pull him. He hashtagged it with Fire Bianco. And this was during the Friday night game that the Rebels actually won. Keith wrote back, sorry you had a miserable night tonight with the Rebs winning. Maybe go support another team. Now, this has been met with a lot of mixed feelings.
What do you think?
What
about
say
that?
you, madam? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. I got no issue whatsoever with it.
Well,
I wished he hadn't have said go support another team.
yeah, I don't love it because I just don't see how he can win if he starts getting involved in this stuff. It's a no-win, man, because we fool around and lose a tough game or a series or hit a losing streak, and boy, they're really gonna pour it on him. And I can't understand why he did it. I mean, man, it's like he had just said, you know what, I can't take anymore. I'm firing back.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, as you can see, he could say that. I think he just had. We've all got to that point before, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Where I don't know, we just had enough.
That's very out of character for him.
Very out of character, no doubt. I'm not used to seeing him overreact like that, but man, I ain't got no problem with my AD sticking up for his coaches, man. Those are his guys, and I just don't have a problem with him doing that. Like I said, the only part I didn't like was him saying to the guy, maybe go support another team.
I couldn't believe he said that. I couldn't believe he said that.
But I think if he had to do it over with
when
again,
he said that, when he said go support another team, I knew then he was just pissed off. He was mad.
Yeah,
he was mad.
You wanna?
And I bet you he probably wish he could get that comment back. I'm not saying he regrets standing up for his coach, but yeah, like you said, go support another team.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that he went there. But again, he's mad.
He's mad, and he's heavily invested into this university. He's more invested in this university than you and I, man.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, he was a
That's his
former
life.
player there.
Yeah, it's his life. It's his life, man. And again, it tells me that he has been hammered. They ain't no telling how many nasty emails he's gotten and still continues to get.
Yeah.
And one of them just happened to hit him wrong
At the right time.
at the right time, and he fired back.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't have a problem. I want him. I'm glad to have somebody with a little
Little
gut.
life in him.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't like that he told the guy he should have go support another team. We're not in a position we can run off fans.
No.
But at the same time, I'm glad he stood up for his coach and the school. But wish he'd have just chose a different wording. Now, I mean, obviously, I think if you look at it as a whole, probably the best thing would have been to just completely ignore it to begin with.
Yeah.
Don't give the guy, because the guy was, he was trolling. He was trying to elicit a response from him.
Yeah, he got it.
And he got it.
Well, at least now we know Keith is Super Joe on the boards, but
He ain't Super Joe, I can tell you that. But there's just as many the other way on Super Joe. I don't like Super Joe, but there's just as many the other way. So until I, but see, there's a reason why Super Joe does what he does. Because that Memphis Rebel 75 or something? Normally a pretty good poster, man. Really,
Yeah.
He's a pretty level-headed guy.
yeah.
Super Joe gets all over him, man. He just literally he loses his shit. It's kind of like how poor One for Ace was with Axel's post years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just they get old Memphis Rebel down. Well, I tried to tell him. I said, man, he's only doing that because it makes you so mad.
Yeah.
The minute you just back off and just totally don't pay him no attention whatsoever, he's gonna stop, or she'll
That
stop. I thought
Memphis
one time
Rebel
you said it was a
75
she.
guy.
Yeah.
That Memphis Rebel 75 guy you're talking about is a great poster, but dude, and them game threads across all sports, you think I get emotional with it?
See, I don't get
Man.
up. I'm that guy that always says, stay off of these freaking boards during the game. When a game's playing, let it play out all 4 quarters, all 2 halves, or all 9 innings. You got to let them go. And then you come in there and vent all you want to.
I don't think it's a bad idea to have a forum where we can go in real time and blow off steam just amongst each other. You know, if it's with other outside members of the family, no way in hell I want to hear from them. When it's our own people who live this stuff, I'm okay with a game thread, but you still have to be. You still got to use your brain, man. Some of these people just turn their brain off during these games, and like you said before, just lose their shit off of every pitch, every play.
And then they can't walk it back. When at the end of the game, they end up looking utterly foolish. And then, well, obviously, we weren't looking too good when I made that post. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, mistakes get made.
Yeah, you still look like a dummy.
Yeah, mistakes get made during the course of a ball game. It's how you can get. Well, how Rocky said, it ain't how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit and still get up. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the greatest quotes in all of sports movies history.
I'll say one last thing going back to Keith's deal. I hope that is not something that he starts to do. I hope that's a one-off, and I feel like it is.
I do too.
I don't think we're going to begin seeing that one Lane Kiffin in the world is enough. So I don't think we're going to start seeing that on a consistent basis at all.
I don't think
like I said, I think he had just had it, man. He had it. Yep. And he said, you know what?
It was over. It was the last straw. You know, I mean, the last straw.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much does this week. You got anything else? All right.
Hope everybody has a good week.
That's right. You know, everybody, we kind of condensed this one down. Just did one episode. Went run a little bit longer, but it's kind of a slow week. So that pretty much does all we have for episode 32. I hope everyone has a great Easter. And if you like what we're putting out there, please subscribe, like, and share. And as always, comment. Let us know what you think we can do better. Metal Rebel myself, until next time, hotty toddy, Rebel fans.
Go to hell, LSU. And if they're the worst place, please go there.